When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels normal, just
Hi guys, it's ASBYT and this is the brand new iPhone 12 Pro. This phone is one of 4 phones Apple are releasing this year, and it feels like more than ever there's something for everyone. But with all of this choice, the question is, if you're looking to pick one up, which one is right for you? I've been using the 12 Pro for a short while now, and as good as this phone actually is, it's probably the hardest new iPhone to recommend for reasons you'll see. Let's dive. So the Pro was released alongside the standard iPhone 12 and a few weeks before the 12 mini and 12 Pro Max. A lot of 12s. I do have reviews and comparisons coming on all of the brand new iPhone 12 series, so sub to see those videos, but today we're going to focus on the Pro, starting with the main differences from last year. So the most obvious change, and I use this term loosely, is the physical design. Apple have reverted back to the tried and tested formula of the boxier, squared off sharp edges from the curves of the last, 5 years worth of iPhones. It closely resembles the rough design of the iPhone 5, and while some may see this as a somewhat lazy move from Apple, jumping from square to round and then back to square again, I personally love the iPhone 5 design, and I feel the grippier edges and the perfectly flat, sharp, precise lines a lot more premium looking, and how many ways can you design a phone, right? Outside of having this squared off stainless steel frame, there's not too much change on the rear, with the same frosted finish, the same Apple logo in the middle, and the same design to the camera module, but more on actual camera performance later. Now, Apple have introduced their brand new MagSafe magnetic wireless charging system to this back panel, meaning there is no more searching for that right spot when wirelessly charging, and aligning the charger to your iPhone is a simple snap, like you may have seen from smartwatches, etc. before. And this is a welcome change. I can also see many exciting accessories from various companies being made available because of it. Now, this new MagSafe wireless charger is £39 and is only available to be purchased separately, which leads me to the elephant in the room, which must be addressed, and that is of course the fact that there is no standard charger now in the iPhone retail boxes. You just get the Type-C to Lightning cable. Now, Apple claim it's to help the environment, as they say they want to be carbon neutral by 2030, and they've stated that if they ship the new iPhones with another charging brick in the retail box, this would result in people that already had them throwing the old ones away or simply not using them, and thus leading to a lot of waste when they were perfectly fine to use in the first place. Playing devil's advocate here, you could argue that if this were indeed the case, Apple shouldn't be looking to profit off this situation and shouldn't be pricing the brand new iPhones at the exact same price as last year, even though you now don't get a charger or any earphones. You could also argue they could have changed the iPhones to use a Type-C port and not the Lightning port, which means that you could charge your new iPhone, iPads and MacBooks all with a Type-C charger, and therefore again this would lead to a lot less waste. Personally, I think Apple will go with a portless design before they jump to Type-C, but who knows. I really do applaud the idea for better efficiency for the environment, and I'd like to believe Apple's statements, but only they will know their own true intentions. If we flip to the front of the 12 Pro, we've got some excellent features, but it's also missing a couple of big ones as well, which is surprising considering the technology available and the fact that this is a Pro model. But we'll get to that. So we have a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display with a resolution of 1170 by 2532 and a peak brightness of 1200 nits. Now, putting all these big numbers and strange words aside, what does that actually mean? Well, the display is definitely bright enough even in direct sunlight, although those weather conditions are definitely at a premium here in the UK in October. It's also really nice and sharp and has OLED technology, which of course means pitch blacks, great contrast and viewing angles, so watching the latest movies and playing the latest games with its brilliant stereo speakers will be really nice and immersive. If of course you can avert your eyes away from that little blighter of a notch, which has been retained for the 4th year in a row. If iPhones are all you've known, then this won't look any different and probably won't be a problem for you. But if you have dabbled in the Android world over the last few years, you will know the advancements over there with regards to screen-to-body ratios, making this slightly hard to be completely comfortable with. This design does, of course, result in the added bonus of the well-known best-in-class Face ID feature, but in a world of the dreaded C19 and the use of face masks, I would have personally liked to have seen them possibly include some form of Touch ID, having to constantly take your mask on and off to unlock your phone is a bit less than ideal, especially from a health and safety point of view. The front glass is actually known as ceramic shield now, which according to Apple is a hybrid between glass and ceramic, making it 4 times stronger than the previous iPhone lineup, although the scratch resistance apparently appears the same. This material upgrade is a really nice touch, although the brand new iPhones are missing a feature that has been hugely popular over on the Android side when it comes to display technology, and that is of course a higher refresh rate that was rumoured to come with the 12 range and sadly hasn't. There were rumours of a jump to 120Hz seen on the iPad Pros, but the iPhones remain at 60Hz for at least another year. Now, I can't hide my personal disappointment with this. I personally love using higher refresh rate displays on smartphones, as they make the experience of using the phone so much smoother and makes animations, etc. just feel that little bit more responsive. If you've only ever used iPhones before and have only ever known 60Hz, then again, you won't have anything to compare it to. But if you have tasted that 120 or 144Hz poison, then my friend, you are in a little bit of trouble, and you will forever be looking over your shoulder at what might have been. Like, legitimately, even though the Apple A-Bionic chips are basically the most powerful chip every single year, using the iPhone 11 Pro last year compared to some of the higher-end Android phones that have the higher refresh rate displays has often felt slightly more laggy going through menus, scrolling through apps, etc. I'm just being honest. Apple, I'm not mad, I'm just a little bit disappointed. Having said that, and speaking of chipsets, the brand new A14 that's in the 12 Pro is nothing short of godliness. It's unreal. It's almost too powerful. If you require a phone for social media, work, gaming, everything all in one, you simply cannot get better right now for sheer brute strength than this. And to be honest, if history is anything to go by, it will still be the most powerful chip this time next year, only overtaken when the new Apple A15 chip comes out. Because even right now, the A13 from last year is still more powerful, benchmark-wise anyway, than the best from Android right now that have just been released. The likes from Qualcomm, Samsung, Huawei. What Apple do with the Bionics is just crazy. To add to this chip upgrade, we also now see a minimum of 128GB of storage and 6GB of RAM, up from the 64 and 4 respectively from last year. This may not seem huge numbers again compared to Android, but because the iOS software is so optimized for iPhones, you really, on the whole, don't feel the issue. I say on the whole because the RAM management at times on the 11 Pro was a little bit hit or miss when it came to opening apps that have been stored in the background and sometimes them refreshing and not storing what I already had. So having to start all over again anytime I had to drop an app to idle for a couple of minutes was a little bit annoying, but in using the 12 Pro in this short amount of time, it has seemed a little bit better. Obviously, time will tell. For my full review, I will give you more information on that over a period of time. The rest of the software experience has, as many of you will be aware, had a facelift with the iOS 14 update a few weeks ago. Amongst other things, Apple have introduced widgets that can be pinned to your home screen in different sizes, a new app library, organising your apps into the relevant folders, and picture-in-picture, none of which are necessarily new on smartphones, but nice to see Apple making updates here. I started to feel that iOS was beginning to look fairly tired in terms of its interface, with no real customization and pretty much the same layout for many, many years, so nice to see. Something else that has the same layout this year is, of course, the camera. And the same can be said largely for the hardware as well. We still have pretty much the same 12-megapixel triple camera array, with the only difference being the slightly lower aperture of the primary sensor at f1.6 from the f1.8 on the 11 Pro. This will potentially give you the ability for slightly more depth in your shots and better low light performance as well, as the lenses open wider, therefore allowing in more light. You can now use the night mode on all the cameras, including the front, so that's a really nice thing to see. If you take a lot of selfies, for example, when you're out and about in bars and restaurants, then, well, can't really do that at the moment, can you? Oh well. 2021, fingers crossed, you'll be able to take a selfie with your iPhone 12 Pro out in a bar or a restaurant. That would be nice, won't it? So most of the tweaks, therefore, on the camera have been software related. The ultra-wide angle seems a little bit less distorted, and thanks to Apple's new Smart HDR3, photos look that little bit sharper and more detailed with less noise. But of course, once all these get uploaded to your favourite social media accounts and the compression begins, you may not really notice that much of a difference. One area that I really didn't like on the iPhone 11 Pro camera was edge detection when it came to portraits, especially non-human portrait shots, i.e. you just want that nice bokeh blur effect in the background and the object to be really nice and sharp in focus. It had real problems depicting where those edges were and often would blur areas that should be in focus and vice versa. It was generally okay for human faces, but animals and other objects, it was just simply not what I would expect from a high-end phone like this. But thankfully, I can confirm they've definitely made improvements in this department. Although colour temperature, unfortunately, with the 12 Pro, they really haven't addressed this issue, which is still far too saturated on the red tones and makes me look like a tomato. There is also the inclusion of the much talked about Lidar sensor, which we saw on the iPad Pro, and this helps the phone to depict depth far better, improving the speed of focusing, especially in low light, and is hugely helpful and capable for all things AR or augmented reality. And speaking of AR, I'm also really excited with the improvements and developments in this area, and with gaming, etc., with the inclusion of 5G, which is now compatible on all of the 12 series. 5G has been pretty standard across all top phones over the last year or so there's no real surprise to see it introduced with the new iPhones, but again, it's another box ticked. I still don't see 5G as essential for everyone right now. There's a lot of regions in the world that still don't have 5G masts. Even in the area that I am, there's not really that many. So straight away, if you're in one of those regions, you simply won't be able to use the technology anyway. And I also have mixed opinions about the full benefits of 5G. Yes, the added speed of downloads, etc. is great, but I would hardly say that 4G is mind-numbingly slow. So the main reason why 5G is important for me personally is for the advancements in VR, AR, and gaming. Before we get to the big discussion, a couple more features. You can now shoot Dolby Vision HDR video, which in layman's terms means the dynamic range is improved, producing greater details in the shadowy areas whilst limiting overexposure in those bright spots. This, as well as the some 700 million colours the new iPhone can capture, compared to the 16 million of SDR video, means quite simply videos look stunning. The iPhone 11 Pro had one of, if not the best video capabilities of any smartphone last year, and the 12 series just simply builds on that. It's going to be very, very hard to match. And then there's battery, which I must say is a little bit disappointing, when it comes to specs anyway. We actually have a smaller 2,815 mAh battery cell, down from the 3,046 mAh from last year. Now yes, the iPhones are so well optimised using the hardware and software from Apple that a sub 3000 mAh battery will last longer than if that same battery cell was in an Android phone, for example. And yes, on top of that, we do have a more powerful, more efficient chip inside as well with the A14, but I still hold my reservations. The inclusion of 5G will automatically drain battery faster if it's used, so I feel they really needed to at least keep the battery cell the same size, if not larger ideally, but to go smaller, yeah, I'm not so sure. I've been getting okay battery life in the short time I've been using it. It's certainly not terrible, I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more from a Pro device. Especially considering I'm going to be rinsing it for photos, videos, gaming, and the mentioned 5G. So overall, the iPhone 12 Pro is a great phone. It really is brilliant. But what's the main issue that I have that I touched on at the start? Is it the price? Well, no, not really. We've all become accustomed to Apple and their £1,000+ phones, and even, to be honest, if you look to the Android side, there are plenty of top flagship smartphones that go to the 1,000 and more expensive than the latest from Apple as well, so that hasn't really affected my decision here. So the main issue that I have with the 12 Pro is that unless you love that 6.1 inch size, the sheer improvements of the standard iPhone 12 from the standard iPhone 11 last year in areas like display, camera, 5G, etc. means there's now not too much different between the standard 12 and the 12 Pro, and you're spending a fair bit more. And on top of that, if you're happy spending £1,000 on a smartphone, then for an extra, I think £100, you can get the Pro Max, which is due out in a couple of weeks, and amongst other things has a better camera and a bigger battery. So the 12 Pro sits in an awkward position within the 12 family. So as brilliant as the 12 Pro is, it kind of feels like a bit of a troublesome middleman in the 12 series. And I'm not sure it necessarily does enough to stand out from the others in the 12 series for value for money. If you are buying one of the new iPhones and do need a charger on top, today's video sponsor Anker can help. They have released a 20-watt fast charger designed for the brand new iPhone 12 series called the PowerPort 3 Nano. It apparently charges your phone 3 times faster than a standard 5-watt iPhone charger whilst maintaining a similar portable size. It charges the new iPhones to their max speed using a Type-C port, so you can simply just plug in your Type-C to Lightning cable that comes in the new iPhone boxes and you're good to go. You can also use it to charge other Type-C devices as well, which is really handy. If you use the link in the video description below, you get 50% off when buying this charger in conjunction with a brand new iPhone exclusively at O2. As I said, I will have reviews and comparisons with all of the other 3 in the series coming very soon, so sub to see those videos. And let me know what you think of the 12 Pro in the comments. Is it the phone you're going to get, or is another one in the series going to be the one for you? Or are you just going to say, not for me, no thank you Apple, I'm going to go with something else this year? Like and share if you enjoyed it and think others might find this video helpful. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Do just what you want.